The first time I saw those massive concrete blocks across my driveway, I just stood there for a minute, stunned. Like, really? 3 heavy barriers lined up like I was living in some kind of military compound. It almost felt like a prank until I spotted the neat little laminated sign. Community access, do not remove. Under that, in careful cursive, was Karen Whitmore's name, president of the HOA. Of course it was. My wife came out with her coffee, just staring. Tell me this is a joke. I shook my head, trying to wrap my mind around it. Nope, this is Karen, full scale. That's when it hit me. She'd threatened something like this after the last meeting, when she lost that ridiculous vote about curb colors. I told her my driveway was private property. She'd grinned, her eye twitching like it always did when someone pushed back. Well, I guess she took it as a challenge. Now there were 3 concrete blocks between me and the street. My first call was to the HOA. Nobody picked up. Next, I tried the sheriff. A young deputy, Mark, showed up, paced around the barriers, and told me, not technically on the road, and she claims it's for safety. Safety from? What, my Honda? He half smiled, but shrugged. Might have to go to court for this one. Great. Just what I wanted. Meanwhile, Karen herself comes striding out. Beige pantsuit, badge, clipboard. Waving like this is just a casual Sunday. Sorry for the inconvenience, neighbor. Temporary restriction for traffic flow. Traffic? We're at the end of a dead end. There's nothing but gravel and the echo of her high heels. Karen, this is illegal, I said, as calmly as I could. She just laughed, the brittle kind of laugh that says, try me. I didn't pour it myself. HOA contractor did. Within my jurisdiction. Your jurisdiction doesn't include my property, I fired back. She gave her clipboard a little pat. We'll see. I walked back inside before I said something I'd regret. My wife followed, and I could see that look in her eye. No way was she letting this go. You're not going to let her get away with this, right? I shook my head. No. I'm just deciding how much she's going to regret it. That night, I couldn't sleep. Those blocks looked like tombstones in the moonlight. Karen's played little mind games before, passive-aggressive. Notes, anonymous complaints. But this was her masterpiece. So what was I supposed to do? Call a lawyer and wait for months? Or make a move so bold everyone would see how crazy this had gotten? By sunrise, I had my answer. I called Mike, my old army buddy who runs a construction crew. You busy today? Got a job that needs a bulldozer. He cracked up, but said he'd be over. By the time he showed, half the neighborhood had gathered. Everyone loves a live show. Karen stood at the curb. It's not a vehicle, I said, climbing up. It's a correction. As the engine roared, Karen rushed forward, clipboard waving. You'll pay for this. Already did, I called back. Mike, send me the invoice. The blade hit the first block. It split with a crack. The crowd gasped. Someone filmed. Second block shoved aside. Third broke in half. My truck finally free. Karen screamed. But there was nothing left to block. When I hopped down, she was trembling but still holding that clipboard like a shield. You can't ignore HOA authority. Karen, HOA authority ends at the property line. You crossed it. Deputy Mark came back, surveyed the mess. Technically, you removed an obstruction from your property. Legally messy, but not illegal. Karen shrieked about damages. But he just shrugged. Next time, don't put things where they don't belong. Honestly, I almost felt bad for her. Almost. But her face when that bulldozer crushed her power trip? Worth it. I thought that'd be the end. But that night, I heard shuffling outside. There was Karen, flashlight in hand, dragging chunks of concrete back into my yard. I watched her half awed, half amazed. What kind of person doubles down after a public loss? Karen, you're trespassing again. She froze, wild-eyed. You don't get to win. You made me look ridiculous. You did that yourself. She let the concrete drop, stomped off, tires squealing. That's when I realized this was never just about rules. It was about control, and she was losing it. Next day, the group chat was on fire. Some people cheered me on, others clutched pearls about property values. Karen posted photos, claimed the barriers had been on public land. Her usual gang chimed in. The rest dropped popcorn emojis. My wife showed me the HOA's message. Civil action against me for endangerment. I nearly choked on my toast. Endangerment? For moving blocks off my own driveway. I didn't even have to open the thread. Karen was already rallying her troops. So I called Denise, a lawyer friend, and sent Mike the Bulldozer guy the footage. Turns out one of his crew had filmed the whole thing. The video made it clear. Karen's barriers, her screaming, my property line. Once that hit the community Facebook, I knew she hadn't just lost legally, she'd lost the crowd. At the HOA meeting, the place was packed. Folks from other neighborhoods showed up just to see the fireworks. Karen, flanked by her loyalists, started with, "Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to address vandalism." I cut her off. "Against your ego?" Laughter rippled through the crowd. She tried to hold the room, but when the video played, her banshee wail, the barriers smashed, people couldn't keep a straight face. Denise stood, cool as a cucumber, and threatened counterclaims for harassment. That did it. The board suspended Karen, and she stormed out as the room breathed a collective sigh of relief. But it didn't end there. Next week, my mail stopped. Trash pickup forgot my address. Leaves blew into my yard, and my wife found HOA terrorists spray painted on our mailbox. Karen had lost her title, but not her influence. Noise complaints, midnight inspector visits, even a dead squirrel on my porch. My wife hit her breaking point. "You said it was over." I thought it was. So I documented everything. Every petty move, every complaint. I mapped it out, saw the pattern, saw Karen's pawns still dancing. When the next board meeting rolled around, Karen was banned from attending, but she lurked outside, whispering. I waited till things started, then sent out an email blast, video evidence, timeline, the whole mess. Phones buzzed, heads turned, whispers started. The board voted unanimously. Karen was out for good. Her access card revoked, her influence cut. That night, my cameras caught her SUV idling across the street, headlights off. She just sat there, staring at my house. I thought she was done, but a few days later, a cement truck pulled up. Workers started pouring a sidewalk across my driveway. "Who ordered this?" I asked. "Some lady from the HOA. She's not in the H." The workers packed up. Karen's tricks had gone from annoying to desperate. It was time to end it. I had the property line professionally surveyed. Printed timelines went to every mailbox. People read, remembered old grudges. Then I threw a block barbecue. Burgers, beers, no speeches. Neighbors started talking, comparing stories, Christmas lights fines, gossip-driven rule changes. By nightfall, even Karen's old allies were tired of her. Mrs. Alvarez, a retired paralegal, said, "You could petition the county to dissolve the HOA." That got people thinking. Over the next weeks, I collected statements, had an accountant neighbor review the books. Denise compiled everything: dates, signatures, missing funds. At the county hearing, people who'd never spoken stood up and told stories of fines and threats. The commissioners called for oversight, didn't kill the HOA, but it clipped its wings. For a while, life was good. Kids played late, people swapped tools. But then Karen filed a restraining order, claimed I'd threatened her with the bulldozer. All thrown out, but it was endless paperwork. That's when I dug into the digital archives, fines, missing money, consulting fees paid to her cousin's company. The smoking gun. I printed everything, dropped sealed reports in every mailbox. Transparency begins here. The neighborhood exploded. The local news got wind. County auditors showed up at Karen's house, boxes carried out. That night, my tires were slashed. My wife found another dead animal on the porch. Rats get what they deserve. Cameras went up everywhere. Still, I knew the storm was breaking. One night, the alarm pinged. Karen, sneaking around with a metal stake, muttering about land and order. I confronted her. She threw the stake and ran. Deputy Mark filed another warning, but I knew it wasn't over. Then the final blow, Karen, caught pouring acid on my driveway, arrested at the scene, trunk full of stolen HOA files. Out on bail, she disappeared. Her house empty, mailbox overflowing. People whispered. Maybe she left town, maybe rehab, maybe just waiting to strike again. But the HOA was dissolved. The lot where her house stood became a garden, neighbors planting flowers where her barriers used to be. At the dedication, someone hung a sign, "No more barriers." The place felt lighter. People laughed again, fences came down, and I finally slept through the night. Still, every so often, a letter would show up. No return address, just "You took what was mine." The new board panicked. But Denise kept us steady. "Ignore the ghost," she said. Flyers would appear, criticizing the garden. One time, "Liar" was spray painted on my garage. But the cameras caught Phil, her last loyalist, trying to keep her flame alive. He left town soon after. Then, during a county repaving job, a bulldozer dug up a metal box full of HOA files, maps, even behavior profiles she'd kept on everyone. She'd been playing us all along, waging psychological war. I turned the evidence in. The county started an inquiry. Karen's legacy wasn't just concrete or bylaws. It was fear. But we learned to live without her. Months passed. A handwritten letter finally arrived. You broke my walls. Maybe that's what I needed. There was no apology, but maybe a little peace. The HOA was dead. A community trust took its place. No presidents, no fines, just neighbors. I stood by the old podium after the final vote, Mark beside me. You look like someone who just buried a ghost, he said. Maybe I had. That summer, the garden bloomed. At the block fair, a reporter asked me for a quote. I said, you can build walls or gardens. Either way, something grows. Just depends on what you want to live next to. That night, as dusk settled over the neighborhood, I realized it was never about driveways or rules. It was about control and letting go of it. Maybe peace isn't about winning. Maybe it's about knowing when the fight is over. And maybe the truest revenge isn't a bulldozer at all. It's a place that finally feels like home. So tell me, where would you draw the line? Is order worth the price of control? Or does a real community mean tearing down walls, even if it gets messy? Drop your thoughts in the comments. What would you do if a Karen tried to run your life? And don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share your own neighborhood war stories. This is your story too.